Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 543 of the DrunkNerds Podcast. I'm as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh my God, dude. At least 9 days. I'm talking 9 days until both the 3DS and Wii U's eShops close for good.
Rest in peace and
So
peace.
that means for all of you big Nintendo fans, if you even have some bit of interest in any type of game on those services, you best buy them
Yep.
now because they'll be forever in the freaking ether.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, I'm doing pretty freaking good. I have some time off of work. Hopefully, I'm not going to be doing a lot of yard work shit. Because that always seems to be the case. But other than that, though, man, it's like I've been playing bits of Metroid Prime Remastered. I've been playing more so of the Resident Evil 4 demo.
Nice.
And I did play a little. I did play a little bit of the Lightfall expansion too for Destiny as well. And I'm like, yeah, it was like a little hodgepodge here and there, but things are going pretty good. Nothing too stressful. Nothing like really crazy. I'm just in the middle of like a freaking hodgepodge thing where all of these games that are coming out that are freaking absolutely interesting,
Yeah.
but yet it's wedged between other things that are more interesting too. It's like if Resident Evil 4 didn't come out this month, the remake
Yeah.
of that thing this
1 week
month,
away.
I would probably be playing two or three more other games.
Jesus Christ. Just gotta pick one, man. Gotta pick
I
one. You gotta
know.
stick with it and knock them out one at a time.
I know. How have you been doing, Tyler?
Doing all right. Better now, though. Just cracked myself a Gables here. Um,
Mm,
But yeah, I'm doing all right. Just clanging and banging as always. Not too crazy going on with me. Just a week. It's, getting really frustrated, Gables, with March here. Getting really frustrated. Um,
oh yeah?
it is the cockteasiest of all months. Uh,
And why is that?
it's every week this month. We've had a day in the 50s, at least one snowstorm, and at least one ice storm. Every
Oh,
day or at least that one of those things has happened at least once every week for the last 3 weeks, and it's driving me fucking insane.
that's like playing Russian roulette, dude,
It's
but only
awful.
with the weather.
Today's high was 10 degrees. It was 50
Oh,
degrees on Wednesday. Thursday we got a
uh-huh.
snowstorm. Friday we got an ice storm, and today it is 10 degrees outside and with like 30-mile-per-hour wind. I hate it. February is the most depressing month because it's just pure
Uh-huh.
garbage of like all the worst weather. It just is in February, but then March is
Yes.
just like it could be anything. Um, so yeah, I know weather is like everybody's least favorite topic, but
Yeah.
I get it, but it's miserable for a lot of people. I get it. Except for I don't want to hear people in California bitch. Ooh, it's 67 degrees. Fuck you. Okay, Ooh, we don't have heat here. Don't fuck you. All right, we have heat, and it's
Well,
still
unless you
fucking
have
cold.
unless you have like extreme circumstances to where it's like 10 feet of fucking snow
Yeah, at least
instead
you
of
can put a
0 degrees.
hoodie
I mean,
on and some jeans and just get in your car and go to the goddamn store. If I want to go to the goddamn store, I gotta put on 17 fucking layers of clothes, get my dog's goddamn sweater on, and then I gotta fucking start my car, let it run for 3 hours, and then scrape all the windows off just so I can see just a little bit out of the fucking little corner so I can see where I'm fucking going. And I gotta freeze my ass off all the way to do anything. And then you gotta drive
I
through
know when
ice. You gotta drive through snow. Fuck you, West Coast people. Fuck you, not you, Gables. The people south of you. Fuck you. Also, people just actually in the South in general. Fuck all of you too.
uh
Sorry, I'm
man,
really in a bad
I
mood.
will say this. I will say this though. On a serious note though, I do feel for the that people from parts of California that are suffering from a lot of that major snowfall and that rainfall that's been happening the past couple of weeks. Some as high as 10 feet of snow, a lot of which can't even get out of their driveways, can't even get into town because it's so
Well,
extreme with that regards. But to them, it's like, God, dude, that's really freaking crazy and
oh,
stuff.
way to
But
make me feel like an asshole, Gables.
yeah.
Thanks a lot. I didn't know they had snow. I did see. We know a guy from California. He's a school teacher, and
That's
they got
right.
rain, and they closed school because of rain.
Well, Well, you know what, man? I mean, when you have record high snowfall in California of all places, and all of a sudden you
Where
have
they
a
get like
record high thing of rain with flooding
where
and
they get like a
things, I mean,
flake or
shit.
something, like flutter through the sky a little bit there. Sure, it wasn't
Oh,
ash
jeez.
from a forest fire. I don't know. I'm being insensitive. I'm sorry. I'm just so
Eh.
sick of the goddamn winter cables. The older I get, the more
Yeah.
it gets to me. The more like
Yeah, man.
the less patience I have for it. The more it's fucking. Yesterday was St. Patty's Day. Last week was Day of Same Time. I lost an hour for what? Because now it's just cold and the sun's up an hour later, and it does nothing for me.
And this all goes back to Tyler losing an hour of his sleep, and now
Yeah,
he's going through just
I'm cranky.
the
Yeah,
weather.
I sleep very little as is, and then they take an hour away from me. Fucking dumbass. Fuck the farmers too. Fuck you guys. We do this bullshit for you guys. We gotta get dark at 4:30 half the fucking year, so you guys can get up earlier. Fuck you guys. Fuck everybody. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I was actually in a good mood today. I watched all the season 1 of Ted Lasso, and I started thinking about the
All
weather.
it had to do was get towards the fucking weather,
Yeah,
and all of a sudden you
I
start
am
going off.
on the thin ice right now. No pun intended with the fucking weather. Okay. I watched all of season 1 of Ted Lasso today.
That's
And
awesome.
it's fucking amazing. I love that show. I get it now. I know I'm like 3 years too late on that. Well, not too late, but 3 years late on that. And oh my god, it shows so good. If you have Game Pass, they have a deal going till April 1st, where they give you 3 free months of Apple Plus, which is that, or Apple TV,
Oh.
whatever it's called. Which that's where it's on. And I was like, oh, might as well do it. It's ends in a couple, because that Tetris movie is gonna be on there,
Oh
on
God,
the
that's right.
31st, I believe. So I'm like, well, I better sign up for that and get a free, a few months out of it. And I started watching Ted Lasso. So then that's been excellent. So I spent like pretty much my entire afternoon just doing that, because each episode's like 30 minutes. There's 10 episodes in a season, so yeah, about 5 hours of content there. Knocked the first season out. So I'll probably have season 2 and 3 done tomorrow at this rate. Um, but yeah, no. Other than I'm not, believe it or not, I've actually was in a good mood today watching Ted Lasso. It's impossible to be in a bad mood watching Ted Lasso. It just makes you want to be a better person.
No shit.
Until you go outside. It's 30-mile-per-hour wind. It's 4 degrees outside. And
Dude,
yesterday was St.
you know
Patty's
you
Day.
kind of remind me of right now. You kind of remind me of that character from that Hey Arnold, that freaking post guy that was voiced by Lou
Oh
Rawls of all
yeah,
people.
yeah,
I hate the rain and I hate the sleep, but man, I hate the snow. I hate the snow.
yeah. You're right. Okay,
And then he falls through like a freaking like 5 foot thing of
that
snow, and then pops out the other
that's right.
side and right on his
Yeah,
feet and just walks away as
I
he's
remember this now.
fucking
Yes, I
singing.
remember this now. Maybe it is because I do deliver packages. Maybe that's why I remind you of him as well. And maybe I'm turning into him because that's what my day job is. Um, Fuck me, man.
Uh,
Wow. Some real. Last week you told me I was in my mid-30s, which I never realized before, and now this week, Gail's coming out with me with the hard realizations. Um, Man, you're a terrible therapist. Uh, oh man,
oh
but
boy.
this, believe it or not, is a video game podcast. Where every week we get together and talk about video games. If you stuck around, first off, why? Second off, thank you. If you're doing all that, you're here. Please, like, follow, subscribe. Look down in the descriptions down below. See your links to our socials, or we're available. For other podcast, our podcasts are available at. If you just want to listen to the audio side of it, if you're on listening to us on the other side, links in there for the YouTube. Go subscribe, ring the bells, click the links, hit the thumbs ups, comments, shares, all that fun stuff. The more you guys do that, more it helps us out. We're just two guys that just get together. I like to have a few beers. This is my week. I have my 4 beers when we do this podcast, and that's pretty much all the drinking I do every week. So, um, delaying getting old as much as possible. 4 beers every Saturday night at a time, um, until Gables reminds me when I'm eventually in my late 30s. But Gables, let's get some. No real good way to get into this one. First off, though, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. Um, Passed away yesterday at the young age of just 60 years old. I was shocked to find out he was that
Yeah.
old. He was most famous for being in The Wire, the John Wick movies. He was the concierge, which I watched John Wick 1 and 2 last night. Um, Respect for him. See a lot of cool people going into Destiny 2, and going to the hub world and paying the respects to them. Beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's a tragic event like this, but Sometimes it reminds you like how cool video games can be. Outside of just the games themselves, where like, you just see a lot of people all day yesterday and all day today going and paying their respects to him. He was also Cylon and the Horizon games. He had
Yes.
a couple TV shows coming up too. He was a part of, so he's gonna play a major role in the next Horizon game. I'm sure played a major role in the new Lightfall expansion just came out. John Wick
Oh,
4 that comes out this week. He's a major part of that one. So rest.
that's crazy though. It's like Lance Reddick's like one of his last roles was being one of the voice actors for Lightfall. You know, actually, I saw this online like today on Twitter to where like the day before he passed, he actually logged in on
He
Destiny
played
2 and
Destiny
was
too.
playing a little bit of
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. It's always cool when it's like when people are like that are like in games are also like fans of games. It's always kind of cool. Like
Mm.
when you see like a celebrity is like actually like they play games. Um, so yeah, I thought that was really cool. The day before he passed, he logged into Destiny and playing Destiny. Like that's pretty badass, dude. When you're playing a video game that you're like the main
Yes.
guy in, so that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah,
so,
Commander Zavala.
yeah.
Yes.
So rest peace to him. No, nothing really more to add there, but
Rest in peace,
yeah,
Lance.
yeah. Um, but yeah, let's move on to some actual video game news. There's no, like I said,
Okay.
no real easy way to segue into now that, but I want to pay respects to the man. But Gables, would you believe it that
Uh,
there are some substantial PS5 Pro rumors out there?
yeah, I can believe it, honestly.
Yeah. So some details we got here. This is Tom Henderson from Inside Gaming, which he's pretty accurate about a lot of things he talks about here. He's kind of made some mentions in the past that he's heard some stuff or like there's some ideas that maybe could be happening, but now he's saying it is. The plan is right now is that so he talked about previously that there'll be a PS5 coming out sometime this year or next year that will be basically like I don't know if they're permanently going to go away with the base PS5 model like the one we have with the disc drive, but they're going to have like a digital edition and you can buy a detachable disc drive that we talked about, I don't know, a few months ago maybe. We
Yeah.
originally talked about it that you can buy and attach to it to kind of cut down on the cost of making the PS5. And now around that it kind of sounds like the plan is to at that same time announce and launch the PS5 Pro. Um, that'll be coming late 2024 because it sounds like Sony doesn't plan on the PS6 coming out until um, at the very least 2028. So what we are
6 years, not
five and a
six,
half
but
years,
like 5 years.
give or
Yeah,
take. Yeah.
roughly. They're
And
yeah.
if you look at the timeline here, the PS4 launched November 2013, the Pro
Hmm.
released November 2016, PS5
Yep.
released 4 years later in 2020.
Yep.
So if you do that, kind of makes it a little off. I guess it's 4 years instead of 3 years between the Pro and the base model, but you're talking 4 years between the Pro and the main one, or top the PS5. Um, and part of the reason why though we got the Pro was they wanted to keep the $400 price tag because
Yep.
and that's kind of something we talked about when they announced the Switch OLED. A lot of people thought, oh, they're going to drop the price of the base Switch down like $50, and then they can keep the OLED at 300. So they always had that $300 model. Kind of same thing happened with the Xbox One X. Same thing where
True.
they dropped the price and then they kept that one at 500 actually. Um, so kind of the same idea. Sounds like if maybe then the base like the PS4 model PS5 model. Maybe if they just go to digital only route, and then you have to buy the detachable disc drive. That's $400. Then you get the PS5 Pro. Go away with kind of what we have now, where we have the PS5 with the disc into it, disc drive like built into it. Um, so yeah. So but I don't know. Give us like you bought a PS4 very late, didn't you, in the PS4 life cycle?
Well, let's see. The PS4, I did end up buying a couple. Now that I think about it, because I did buy one not at launch, but pretty close to launch, and then I sold that one off, and I bought one off of you. I
Yeah. Well,
remember,
I'm talking about the Pro
but
though. Which
the Pro,
yeah.
yes. The Pro was actually I purchased mine like a year or something before the
Okay.
PS5. around that time because I wanted to play the PS4 Pro. It had better specs. It was just at that time. I still have it inside of its
Hmm.
box underneath my bed.
Yeah.
Along with that, the other PS4, like Days of PlayStation console that's like blue and gold. That one I
Oh
still
yeah,
have
that's
as
right. I forgot
well.
about that one.
But when it comes to this PS5 and the potential things for not only just for the Pro, but also for I don't know what other type of iterations they'll have for the PS5 after this thing. I can understand why they're doing it because the cycle wise, like okay, it's now what getting close to the third, getting close to a full 3 years
Yeah,
since the
this November.
PS5's been on
Yeah.
market. Funny enough, it hasn't been readily as available up until this year.
Yeah, it was like well, it was like the probably October, November of last year, where we started
Yeah,
to see the actual like being a lot
we
easier to like
yeah.
if you wanted one, you can find one eventually, fairly easily.
Well, exactly the point. It's like a lot of us were lucky to get it back around 2020
Yeah.
due to crazy ass tactics that did not involve a lot of
No, I was
scalpers.
able to get mine at launch because I drove 40 miles over the speed limit to get a GameStop to get it. So, and I got the
Oh my
very last
god.
one. So,
Yeah, yeah, and of course my little iteration and stuff to where, funny enough, I didn't want it for the longest of time because I was fine with my PS4 and my PS4 Pro at the time, and then the month that I really feel like I wanted to invest in a PS5 and stuff, I spent almost an entire month actually scouring, joining Discord things, and then like getting these pops and notifications. Oh, hey, the PS5's in stock on Sony's main site. Like what? Go through, wait, and that's where I put most of that stimulus check in, and that was inside that PS5. But it doesn't surprise me really that we're probably going to be getting some form of a Pro or anything else like that. I mean, the thought throughout my mind is like, what type of improvements would they actually go with like a
yeah.
PS5 Pro? It doesn't make a lot of sense to go and introduce a Pro model now, not even like halfway through the console's life cycle. I mean, what's the best you can do? Make better ray tracing or
That's
better yet like
yeah,
it
cuz
it doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't to me.
yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking cuz like the Pro I made sense at the time because like when the PS4 and the Xbox 1 came out, the big issue was from people that like PC gamers and people tech people talk about those things were like 2 years behind technically
Right.
than where people were like on PC and stuff like that at that point. And the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and stuff, from what I understand, like I'm not a PC guy, like he's like I don't understand the tech side of it, but those things
Okay.
came out like well ahead, like they were very powerful. And I mean, obviously you can get like a super expensive card for your PC and be better, like do everything better. But the PS4 Pro, the nice thing is you had the HDR, you had 4K gaming, you can do 60 frames because like the PS4 and the Xbox One when those came out, you were still playing things at 30 frames per second. You didn't have 4K, you didn't have HDR. Like 4K was still pretty new at that
Right,
point.
right.
HDR, like most people didn't know. I didn't know what it was until they really revealed the PS4 Pro. Now it's kind of like standard. Like any like Netflix, any sort of streaming show or anything like that, like or you HDR is kind of like a must at this point for like new shows or
Mhm.
anything like that. Yeah, I'm just like,
At least having the standard to what TVs are
yeah,
currently. I mean, if they're trying to release something based upon based upon like say PC monitors or something like that, I mean, it would make somewhat more sense in that regards because it wasn't too long ago where they released an update Sony did in regards to upgrading the technical aspects of the PS5 to where now it can recognize monitors with like very refresh rates and
yeah,
stuff and like this type thing so they can play like 120 like frames or something like that.
yeah,
I mean, that's part of the thing that kind of is surprising to me that they're even going to try to like at least introduce another SKU into the fray like 3 years later and stuff because this is kind of a different thing now than what it was with like PS4 to PS4 Pro or like even like the PS4 Slim or anything else like that. It's because that for the first iteration of the PS5 it took so long for it to go and get so on the market itself. One, in large part because of the pandemic, but two, in large part, of
yeah.
scalpers. And three, it had to literally take them having to do a lot of cost cutting things in terms of the models and the inside
Cut out a
of the
lot of
PS5
plastic. Yeah,
itself in order to save that. Not just plastic, but I'm talking about cuts in the heat sink,
Yeah.
reducing that going through. We were literally at a point with the PS5 when that came out to where there was different SKUs, different parts being put inside of this model.
Yeah.
Like two PS5s were not
Well,
alike.
that's not unusual. I mean, the Switch has had. I mean, usually when these consoles come out, they like kind of go overboard on certain things.
Right.
Like that's why the heat sinking is different. It's not like they cut a lot of plastic out. Like they usually go overboard because they want to make sure because you can only do so much testing with these things before they come out. And then as you learn
Mm-hmm.
about it after 6 months to a year, then you can start cutting back a little bit, saving some money there. Like the Switch has made several addition SKUs. Like I remember like the battery's better. Like with the Switch, like 6 months to a year later. So if you got a Switch, like the holiday season of 2017 or the next year,
Mm-hmm.
you have a better battery life than like the people like you and I that got like I got mine at launch. You got yours like a couple weeks after launch.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so like that stuff isn't like entirely unusual. Like the Xbox is the same thing, but yeah, I'm just like that's the thing. Like I feel like the big things they can change. Like ray tracing is a big one. I guess maybe
Mm-hmm.
you could do it where like you don't have to pick between 60 and 4K or um I,
But if we're gonna have the option to choose between 60 and 4K, I mean, we got the feature already in terms of preference of what we want to based upon 4K or resolution or frame rate
yeah.
stuff, like performance or like this and that. Like you're like I was just stating though. But when it comes to the overall aspect of having something like consistent with both, I think would really kind of be not dependent upon the system itself, but it's like the system itself though, if the PS5 Pro were to have access to where we would be able to have both consistently, like a 4K thing as well as like 120 frames or something like
Yeah.
that, super like this. Granted, yes, I could possibly see the necessity of releasing like a PS5 Pro or anything like that. But what this kind of sounds like to me personally, to speculate, is just another console option for those that want to buy something like say if they want to buy like a disc drive and stuff for like their PS5 digital edition, that's something that I could potentially see that happening. But as far as like an actual console redesign or something, or like updated specs or updated like that, it's definitely is a possible stuff. But unless they're trying to do something like crazy in terms of their design, or crazy in terms of the specs that they want to go through and do, Sony, I don't really get the necessity right now of a PS5 Pro. It's definitely going to be something on Sony's end. They're trying to convince not just people that haven't bought a PS5 yet, but those that have already bought a PS5. Why the hell would I care
Yeah.
in regards to this next iteration?
Yeah, cuz like like you mentioned like yeah, there's been the issue of getting these things until the last few months. Um like at the 3 years into the PS4, if you wanted a PS4, you had a PS4. You had a PS4.
Yep.
When the Pro came out. And I remember at the time, like when we were doing the podcast back then, and I was just like, I hated the idea of like the Pro. I'm like, I didn't like this. Like because people were like, what if we start doing a yearly or every other year we get a new thing? And I'm like, I hate this because like, no, it's like people are comparing to a cell phone. I'm like, no, it's not the fucking same. Because you buy a cell phone, you have everything. You don't have to. You're not buying all this extra shit on top of it. You know, but like, and obviously it's not that. Like, that scenario didn't happen, thank God. But kind of the main issue, like, because like you can like, I don't know, like, because 4K and like HDR and all that stuff was becoming more affordable at that point in
Mm-hmm.
time. And it was still fairly new, but it was fairly affordable. Like I remember I bought my 4K TV with HDR with my PS4 Pro. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a few months later. I think it was like January 2017. I bought it because I got my tax return. And like those are the two things I bought with it. Um, but like talking about the variable refresh rate (VRR), like your
Mm-hmm.
TV needs to do it. Like I have a TV that's 2 years
Yes.
old, doesn't do that. Like a lot of the
Neither
TVs,
does mine.
yeah, like a lot of the newer TVs now they just like we got that 2.1 HDMI, which my TV has that, but doesn't have the variable refresh rate.
That's the that's the thing, Tyler. Unless you have something dedicated like a gaming monitor that has like a lot of those necessary like say if it's compatible with like 120 frames per second, or if it's like 165, like some of the other ones, like say some other brands of monitors are and stuff. A lot of the TVs currently, the market and stuff, do not have access to
Yeah.
play it like above 60 frames per second.
Yeah. Like my TV can do like 120. Like when I play like Fortnite, I can
Okay.
do 120. I remember playing Uncharted 4 at 120. But yeah, I mean, but it's the same thing with with the PS4 Pro with the 4K and HDR and all that. But I feel like a lot of stuff isn't as affordable, or isn't like this stuff doesn't seem like as big as like this isn't like going to like variable refresh rate. Like it's nice, but um it's not like as big of a step going to 4K and HDR. Like HDR, the first time I played a game with HDR, I remember I played like Titanfall 2 and
Hmm.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Like it blew me away. I couldn't like, oh my, like, this is like different. This is completely different. And like when we played ray tracing, it's cool, but it's not game changing in that way. Like I don't know. Like maybe it's one of those things where like I hear like a PC people talk about so much and blow it up. I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. Okay, and I finally like seeing it like Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. I'm like, no, this is cool, but I'm like, not like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing ever. But like, but um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, but it's definitely like I said, like it's one of those things where like it's for people if you have that TV or you're into that tech, like that's gonna be for you. And
Hmm.
maybe like I was completely against the One X and the PS4 Pro until I saw the press conference they did with Cerny and talking about the
Hmm.
HDR, talking about the 4K, and like that's what sold me. Like so maybe like once they do the event and they talk about it and they show us, they tell us about it, and like maybe then I'll change my mind. But like right now I'm not super like, oh my god, okay, I'm totally excited for it. Plus it's $500. My life is different now than it was 6 years ago, and at that point,
Yep.
7 years ago, where I'm not gonna have the expendable income to drop on another $1,000 on a TV, and another $400 on a console. At this point, it would be $500 on a console. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have the expendable income to spend $1,500 on another TV. Maybe in a year and a half, maybe I will. I don't
Understandable.
know. But I mean, like I understand maybe this is not something for me. If I like, if Xbox, if anybody was, if Xbox did this, it'd be a little easier for me to say yes to because I have I have a Series S, not an X. So if they did like a
Hmm.
Xbox Series X Pro thing, they did it. Like I plan on eventually buying a Series X, um, but I'm totally happy with the Series S for right now. And then maybe once if I have the extra the extra income, I'll get one. But like if they I don't know, like
And you have to believe though, Tyler, it's like if Sony's going to be releasing another model of the PS5 and stuff, Xbox is definitely going to be releasing another iteration in
oh
terms of
yeah,
like say their Series X or S.
yeah.
You
I'm
know.
sure like because that's pretty much like we learned about the One X before we heard about the Pro, so I wouldn't be
Yep.
shocked if like that's the reason why the Pro was made because they were doing the One X, and maybe it's the same thing here. Maybe Xbox is already planning on doing it, and or maybe the Xbox wasn't planning on doing it, and then they found now we hit these rumors like, well, fuck, we gotta do the same thing. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not gonna completely poo-poo it like I did in the past. It's one of those things. Yeah, that was. I mean, I know it was fuck what 6 7 years ago now at this point when we heard about these rumors initially, but
All we know is it exists.
yeah, I mean, it's to me it's just tougher to sell because I don't feel like the technology has advanced the way it did, 7 years ago. But like I said, I'm
Yep.
not above being proven wrong, and I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. So we'll have to wait and see until then. Gables, we got some more exciting news. Maybe this one's more for you, Gables.
All
Um,
right. So
so
let's go.
Konami trademarked possibly something referring to Castlevania. So there was a trademark from Konami called Project Zircon. Um, that was they applied
Oh,
for.
Zircon. Yeah.
Zircon? Okay. Um, it's not so kind of going through VGC here. So maybe reference to an item found in the Castlevania series. It's a
Yes, it's a
yeah,
gem.
it's a jewel. Gables, it's a jewel. Made its
Yeah,
first.
it's a
I don't know if there's any
yes.
difference. It made its first appearance in Symphony of the Night.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, Gables. Well, I mean, Alex, you're the Castlevania guy. This is not for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
How you feel about this? Does this give you hope? Is this a pachinko machine? Is it for the anime? Is it
That's the
NFTs?
thing. That's the thing, though. We can't rule out any of those situations because it could obviously be one of. It could be either the most obvious thing or it could be the most crazy, stupid thing. like a pachinko machine, like NFTs and stuff, because Konami has done both for Castlevania. But in
I forgot
regards
they did
to what
NFTs and they made $15,000 on them. It's so fucking funny to me.
they did make Castlevania
Gable
NFTs.
spent 14 of it on those things.
Oh, oh god, I'd shit my pants if that fucking thing
You know what
happened.
I'm getting you for your birthday?
But in regards to that, though, it's along the lines of a bunch of rumors Konami's had over the past couple of years. This is just like another tip of the iceberg in this kind of thing, where it's like there's smoke coming from all these different types of things, whether or not be if it's Metal Gear or with Castlevania
Our new
or
Pope.
even with like yeah that or even like freaking Silent Hill. And hell, they had the whole Silent Hill like reveal and stuff with the remake of like Silent Hill 2 and all that other stuff. So it definitely is possible that there is another Castlevania game being talked about or it exists in some form and stuff. But if I were to personally see a new Castlevania game from Konami and stuff, one thing I would want to know is what is the developer that's going to be creating the game, because that's going to take it. It's definitely not going to be an in-house project for Konami. I'll tell you that right now. They got to outsource that stuff. But if it's say like a Mercury stream, that would make sense. They've made some great Metroidvania style of games in that regards. Maybe Way Forward. I mean, hell, I would love that idea of a Castlevania game made by like Way Forward for some, or even like the most recent thing here with Dead Cells,
Mm,
with the whole Return to
yeah.
Castlevania. That could also be pretty cool. Wouldn't that be kind of funny though? I mean, let's think of it this way: like a new Castlevania game, the style of like a Metroidvania style,
Mm.
like Symphony of the Night or whatever, and then have it be of the made by the Dead Cells, by the Dead Cells creators and stuff like that, kind of similar to the Return to Castlevania. I
What
mean,
what if what if they hired the Treefall Studio company to make a Castlevania game? Gables, how'd that make you feel?
oh, oh,
The
basically it would
3D
make me want to
platformer.
never. It'd make me want to never fucking see that game again.
I'd
But
make you play it for the.
oh my god.
I'd make you stream the
But
whole fucking game.
oh god, I'm just thinking about the most boring, obtuse Castlevania game of all time. It'd be even worse than 64. Anyway, but yeah, you know what? It's like I would be definitely be happy if like there is a new Castlevania game in development that's not garbage. But yeah, what would you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't have a dog in this race here, so or a horse in this race, I don't know, hamster in this race. I don't know, whatever. I don't. There's not. I don't know. I don't know if there's any race involved here. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the problem is like Konami is such a fucking wild card. Where I
Yep,
mean, literally could be any of the things we set up. Like it could be a pachinko machine, could be a fucking NFT, could be a new game. Um,
they literally made a Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko
Gables,
machine.
don't fucking remind me, because I remember I was so pissed off when they remade the final cutscene to Metal Gear Solid 3, and it was a goddamn pachinko machine.
I was pissed off too because I love that ending.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the greatest endings of video game history. They
I
made it
agree.
a fucking pachinko machine, fucking assholes. Um, I don't know. Like I've talked about previously with like, if like they were to reboot Metal Gear Solid, and it's like you see all the reboot, like all the stuff going on Silent Hill, and it's like, it seems like the Silent Hill fans, like I'm not a Silent Hill fan whatsoever, but like a lot of those people seem to be kind of cautiously optimistic or pretty underwhelmed with what they showed.
They're walking on eggshells pretty
Yeah,
much.
but it's like, man, we're like, I think it's just after almost a decade of nothing from them at this point. They're just trying to be
Oh boy,
somewhat
yeah.
optimistic for anything. So I don't know.
It's it's definitely better than
Yeah,
nothing, but
it's like they're so fucking cheap
hopefully they
about
get
shit.
what they want.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Like we've seen in the years what they've done with like in the past with like some of the games where they just give their IP to anybody to make a game for $20.
But then again, the same was said about another property, but not for Konami, but for Capcom with Resident Evil.
Yeah, but that's Capcom, and they actually make their own games in house, and
They actually care about their
it
games
seems like they might actually somewhat care about their employees, um,
and their
and
fans.
their fans. Yeah, like that's apples and oranges here. Um, yeah, because like they're fucking killing it right now, and I mean, but that's the reason why Konami is doing that thing. But it's like I mean, they see what Capcom's doing, and Konami's like, we want to do that, but it's like, I don't, it's like you got to prove. It's one of those things where like Konami's, there's so much.
They gotta prove
they
it.
got. It's been. I mean, it's not even just been a decade of nothing, but it's been multiple decades of just bullshit from them.
It's time for their redemption arc, and it's time for them to actually put some effort into it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is effort and how much money they want to put into this. Because like, I mean, that Reach for the Moon engine is gorgeous, and I mean Capcom has put a ton of fucking money into their games, and with that engine, they've done so many fantastic things with it. Yeah, we're like, yeah, they turned it around. They proved it after Resident Evil 6 and all the bullshit. Like, they're in a really bad spot. They turn around and they've been fucking kicking ass. I want Konami. Look, like, it's easy to rag on Konami, and I'm gonna continue to do it till probably the day I die, which according to Gables could be any day now. Yeah, like, like I'm never gonna fully forgive him for Metal Gear Solid 5 coming out unfinished. And then we just the breakup of Kojima, which he may have been. I'm not gonna act like he wasn't probably responsible for some shit, but like I want to be excited about Metal Gear Solid. I want to be excited. I want fans to be excited for Silent Hill. I want fans to be like you to be. I want when a Castlevania comes out 5 years from now, you're pumped and excited with no reservations whatsoever because they put out 1 to 2 fantastic games already, or they've like partnered with good people to do right by these IPs, and they're giving them more than a ham sandwich to make a game with. That's the key. It's just at this point, it's just like you got to prove it to us. And I mean, it sounds like it's going to start with Silent Hill. And yeah, well, I mean, it's just kind of we're just in this weird like, like you said, we're on eggshells right now. We're just pins and needles, whatever analogy you want to use here. We want to be excited, but we are trying to contain that excitement. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll wait and see. I'm too much out of that one, Gables. But let's move on, Gables. Kind of I don't really know how much out of here though. We haven't talked about Silent Hill. I'm on Silent Hill now. The Last of Us TV show on the podcast really. Season finale was last Sunday. But they did announce that they announced a while ago there'll be a season 2, and they announced this past week that season 2 will not cover the entirety of part 2. So use the time codes, people, because we might get a little bit of spoiler conversations with part 2 and everything Last of Us. So if you want to skip some of that, just look at the time codes, click on to the next thing here. But makes sense. I love the TV show. I don't know if you watch any of it, Gables, or seen anything out there for it.
I haven't seen a single thing, unfortunately.
It is one of the greatest shows to me ever made. I absolutely adore it. They did such a good job of taking the first game and then adding onto it, changing things, and making it's staying on its own. Neil Druckmann said in like an interview where he said that if we're gonna change things, let's make it better. And that's exactly what they did. Like adding to the world, adding it's a TV show. Where it's a 12-hour game. You got 9 hours of a TV show here, but most of that 12-hour game is combat and walking it, going through areas. You're not actually there's not really a lot of storytelling going on in some of this. So expanding a lot of that out into TV show, expanding the universe, adding a lot of backstory to some of these characters was fantastic. And I'm just excited. So, if you're still listening and you don't want to hear about part 2 stuff, this is your last warning. Where I'm going to get into it, Gables, and you can get into it too. I said going into for a long time. I appreciate Gables, even though you knew what happened, you didn't spoil it for me.
Tyler, at this point, man, it's like if I know something, especially if it's a game you're going to be playing or something like that, I wasn't going to be a giant.
No, I knew you wouldn't, but I appreciate it. Like, not even you didn't even give me a face or a smirk. Nothing to doubt what I was saying. But going into Last of Us Part 2, all I said over and over again is I am so excited for another journey of Joel and Ellie. Yeah, we never got that. Gables, it never happened. Nah. We didn't get that at all in Part 2. But we got a lot of a lot of that game is flashbacks to fill in the gaps of what happened between Part 1 and Part 2.
Right.
So watching this, watching the TV show, I was telling a friend at work, I'm like, I cried 5 times in the season finale. I probably cried, I don't know, on average 3 times per episode. It's not counting episode 3. Episode 3 was just literally an hour straight of bawling, and so I count that as one long cry. But like I was preempt, I was crying because I knew what was gonna happen, and then I cried because that thing happened, and then I cried afterwards because that thing that happened was so beautiful, and the fact that like I was so happy that like they killed it, they nailed it, and made me even happier. So I cried because of that, because I was happy, even though it was an awful thing that might have happened. I was like, oh my god, they fucking did it, and it was beautiful. Yeah, the show was fantastic. So I'm hoping that like obviously Abby goes golfing fairly early on in Last of Us Part Two, first couple hours of that game, and I remember vividly playing that part when a game I had it bought it digitally, playing that game when it kicked off at 11 p.m. my time, playing that, got to that part and just turned the game off for the night, sat in the dark and drank a beer because what happened. Um, I don't know. Part of me, like with season 2, is I hope they take that back, that stuff, that in between stuff they were cutting back and forth between the main game, like and just what I wanted the whole time, well, even before they announced it was gonna be split into 2 seasons. So it sounds like we're getting season 3. Um, was like just make season 2 be that flashbacks, expand upon that, build upon that. I want to know more about like the Wyoming, Jackson, Wyoming, the town they're in. I want to know more what happened in between that time. We get some cool
Right.
flashbacks, cool moments, but like I want like in season 2 with Abby going golfing. That's kind of what I would like. I don't know if that's going to happen. I heard a lot. There's been a lot of discourse online about how they, because Gables, you know everything. My thing is like I'm just give me the goddamn PS5 update for Last of Us Part 2, because part of the problem for me is I beat that game so fast because I was so worried about being spoiled that I just flew through that game. So a lot of it's a little fuzzier for me because like Last of Us Part 1 I beat 4 times and I've over the last decade, so like it's pretty I beat it just recently, so a lot of that stuff is pretty much seared into my brain. So Part 2, like there's a lot of fuzziness to it because I was so like worried about spoilers that I just flew through the game. But the main argument going on right now is, do you split up the first half? Because like, the first half of Part 2 you play as Ellie, and then in the
Yes.
the second half you play as Abby, and it kind of explains why she did the things she did. It's all about the spiral of revenge and why revenge is bad, and it's a never ending thing. It's the song Joel sings, the Pearl Jam song. If I were ever to lose you, I truly lose myself. That is the whole fucking point of that game, is that Pearl Jam song. Um, and it turns out instead of Joel being the one losing himself, it was Ellie that lost Joel, that caused her to lose herself. Um, yeah. So my thing is like people are saying, oh yeah, they can just do that again, and my
No.
argument is that might work in a video game when everything it's all right there in front of you, you can just play it straight through. To me though, with this is that if this is a TV show where you're watching it week to week, and with HBO, you might have they already mentioned that we might not get season 2 until end of 2024 at the earliest. So we're
Wow.
looking at nearly a 2-year gap between the seasons, which is that's kind of the way it works sometimes with HBO.
Well, yeah.
Um, so like that to me like we're talking about a 2-year gap, and then you get the season, and then say even if they bank them, they do them back to back. Say there's a year gap between season 3, and you do a whole season of Ellie and her build up to get revenge on Abby, and then you just start season 3. Boom, you're watching it from Abby's point of view. This is a weekly episodic show where people are invested in shows for years, and then they don't like something and they'll just turn it off. It's not a video
Yep.
game where like, okay, like I remember when I first switched to Abby, I'm like, he's like, you just see day one after 10 hours of playing as Ellie, of being pissed off and wanting revenge and murdering everybody, not feeling bad except for the dog. I felt bad about killing the dog. I'm not happy about that still. But then like day 3 in Seattle, doing all the shit, and then you boom, go to Phase of Black, boom, day 1, there you are waking up as Abby. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep going here because I'm playing a video game. I'm gonna just keep going here. And then by the end of that journey, I was like, I love Abby. It's like that's easier to do because I'm playing a video game. It's all right there in front of me. I can keep playing it. It's easier to like give this couple hours or keep going. I'm a huge fan of these games. I don't know how you could do that on a TV show where like you're gonna have a long gap in this, and like I hate the people that say like, oh, you should have bounced in the video game where you're like, oh, you should have just do day one as Ellie, then do day one as Abby, then day like no, that doesn't work. Like the story there.
No, the pacing will still be off by doing that as
Yeah,
well.
pacing's
So it's not a really easy thing. It's not an easy thing to go forth and try to balance that out. Even I've had issues and stuff with that, with the story portion of it, because of pacing issues and because of things kind of being jarring in regards to not being inside of the right place, so to speak, in that regards. And you hit the nail on the head with that specific point, because after that Joel's death scene and stuff like that, and then go into Abby's perspective and like on that day one and stuff. If you're doing that instead of like a TV show, and all of a sudden you kill off like a main character, and all of a sudden you're gonna go to the perspective of the villain like that, like right after that, like tit for tat, like let's just say how having like some fans wanted to go forth where it's like, well, let's just do it exactly as the game does it, but by doing it that way, that's going to turn off a lot
yeah
of major people, a lot of major fans you just build up with this type of television series as well. Because TV shows have tried things similar to this before and end up falling off of a cliff.
yeah
Absolutely have.
yeah
And so if you're going to go into season two predominantly, if you want to try to build up this story to be even better than, say, like the Last of Us Part 2 in a lot of like various like storytelling perspectives and stuff, you got to hit the nail on the head from the get-go right here with expanding a little bit about why they're inside, why both Joel and Ellie are inside like that town and
well they
stuff,
they
how
do
they got to
explain
that
the
point.
first season of the TV show.
Okay, so I didn't know that,
Yeah.
but going into that, but in regards to like having the whole like dynamics and stuff between like say like Ellie and then Abby and all this other stuff, it's got to be portrayed in a way that while it does remain somewhat faithful to the game and stuff in terms of what happens there, there has to be a bunch of consistency in terms of how they present the story and the way that they've wanted to tell, where it's not verbatim what the video game is, a copy and paste of how things went with that, but more of an emphasis upon structuring what was the most important parts of that story. And that was pretty much the conflict and Ellie losing herself in regards to the loss of Joel. And then on that, it's a constant like clashing between both Abby and Ellie in terms of like kind of like a swift and subtle kind of like turnabout thing to where Ellie loses herself, starts like quickly not just losing herself but becoming like a pretty much a full-on monster by the end of
Yeah.
that game and stuff, with Abby kind of pulling a 360 to where the why she kills Joel, like why she kills Joel to begin with, is because of the death of her
Yeah.
father in regards to the end of the first
Cycle of
Last of Us
revenge.
game. The cycle of revenge. The cycle of revenge is the main theme of The Last of Us Part 2. And if you were able to capitalize it consistently and like eloquently in a way to where it's better than The Last of Us Part 2, it's much more concise with what Neil Druckmann and whoever want to picture that and stuff. I could think that the second season could be even better in terms of what storytelling they've told so far with the first season of the series.
Yeah.
That's my speculate. That's how I'm speculating it as point of view,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. The best part, in my honest opinion, about how The Last of Us was, like the original Last of Us, the game that I played years ago, and you and I both played years ago when it first released on PS3, the narrative portion was the strongest part. For Last of Us Part 2, there were plenty of people that like it. There were plenty of people that didn't like a lot of the story changes and a lot of the elements in there. But if they were able to go forth, I'm not talking about like just cutting out big chunks of the story or
No.
this or
Well.
that, and completely changing it upside down.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
if they were to take what they initially wanted to aim for with that cycle of revenge in The Last of Us Part 2 and presented as sort of like a big old like thing for season 2, it could be a freaking amazing, like it could be a potentially like amazing sort of thing that will complement the first season and excel it to where you could get a lot more people into watching it, especially for a season 3 if they Naughty Dog does do a
Well,
Last of Us
season
Part
2 and
3.
3 will be part two. So yeah, so part two is being
Okay.
split into two seasons. Um, but that's what I mean. Like part two is like I don't think part two like or season two being just the Ellie side and season three being the Abby side. I don't think that'll work. Um,
No, I don't think so either.
but the problem is the whole gist of that game. The point of that game is you wanting revenge and then walking that
Hmm.
mile in Abby's shoes to understanding why she did the thing she did. And it's like, oh, Ellie's just on the journey that Abby just finished of revenge. Where Abby just killed Joel, the person that killed her dad, and now Ellie's on the journey to kill the person that basically killed her dad. Um, and then then you get to the end part where this shit happens on the beach there. Um, so yeah, that's what I mean. Like, 'cause like I said, like I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, they should have, like I was saying earlier, like, oh, they should have just done day one with Ellie, then day one with Abby, then day one with Ellie, then day one with Abby.
It's not that
No, and it's
simple.
like it doesn't. That breaks up the whole purpose. There's like the purpose of the story is they want they want you as the gamer to want the same thing Ellie wants, to go on this revenge murder path. Like that's the whole purpose of that game, and then play as Abby and then understand why she felt that way, and then be conflicted at the end of that game of the game when they have the big showdown on the beach. Um, so yeah, like I don't know, man. I like obviously like they're the ones that like we are not the creative people that can like think of shit like this. I never
No.
would have thought like Last of season one would be anywhere as good as the game to even be on the same pedestal as that game. Because it's
Right.
part one. Last of Part One is in my top five favorite games of all time. Part two is also in that top five favorite games of all time for me. Like I said, I can't. I'm excited that when we eventually get that PS5 update when that eventually comes, hopefully sometime soon. Because I am so ready to play that game again. Like I said, I know it's gonna be emotionally because I have it. I had the PS4 version, but I just want to play it like the PS5, get the updated graphics, all that.
Right.
Um,
Well, yeah, understandable.
but yeah, I know it's gonna be emotionally draining, but like I said, there's so much shit there that it's hard. Like maybe once I replay it and like I said, and like knowing everything that happened, or at least know the main story beats, where I can just play through the game again and understand. Like I remember beats for beats what happened, and maybe then I can have a better understanding how the game's gonna or how the show's gonna maybe could work out. But yeah, I mean I don't know. I mean I do not envy Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann for figuring out how it's gonna work. But all I know is man, that first season was amazing. It was like Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey were in like a heavyweight fight, uh,
Hmm.
where like one person would have an awesome scene or an awesome episode, and then the other actor would like, oh okay, all right, check this shit out, and then they would just have an awesome episode or an awesome scene. It was just two,
An acting
yeah, it was
contest.
like two it was like Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield like in their prime fighting each other, obviously without the biting of the ears, but just throwing fucking haymakers at each other of just excellent acting. So yeah, that's I just I'm not ready for Abby to go golfing. I guess is long story short on that one, but I don't know. Hey, I love that show. It was way better than I ever thought it could be. So, um, but yeah, but Gables,
Yeah.
let's do something here real fast. I'm gonna do a little share screen with you. We're gonna look at um okay, one second here. I gotta bear with me for a moment, people. I'm doing something here. I want Gables. We're gonna do a share screen, Gables. I want you. We're gonna look at the Fantasy Critic League. We haven't done that in a while.
Okay.
So I'm gonna move some shit around here. I got a bunch of shit on the screen here. We're gonna fix that, and then I'm gonna boom. So Gables, you should be able to
Yes.
see that here. Bam, there we go. All right.
Definitely a lot of major happenings for
Yeah,
this fantasy
so we
critic.
have not talked about it in a while. So boom, share screen. All right. If you are a YouTube listener, you should be able to see the screen right now and see my screen. I'm sharing our Fantasy Critic League here. One second here. I'm gonna do a time code so I don't forget about that. Boom, there we go. All right, let's move back over. Um, But if you're an audio listener, we'll kind of talk about it here as well. But yeah, so Gables and I, if you don't remember or don't know, if you're first time ever, long time listener, whatever, Gables and I every year, starting last year, it's our second year, doing a Fans Critic League, which is like a fans football, but and
Mm.
we draft and we bid on games. So right now we are about a third of the way through the year. A few
Yes.
days away, about a week and a half away from that. But as of right now, I am in the lead with 86.96 points. Gables is
Hmm.
second with 72.46 games, 40, yeah, Jesus Christ, 72.46 points rather. Um, but it's super early. Gables has got a bunch more games added onto his list here, so I'm going to scroll on down here. I am Wesley Willis Gaming. Gables is Fujiwara Wombat Games. Um,
Yep.
so as of right now, Gables has had 7 games come out. I've had 6. Um, so he has, like I said, 72.5 points here. I have 87 points. So it's kind
Hmm.
of different here. We kind of round up on this at the bottom. So far, Gables has had Fire Emblem Engage, Like a Dragon Ishin, Octopath Traveler 2, World Fallen Dynasty, Bayonetta Origins, and WWE 2K23 come out. So that's why he's got the 72 points. So far, Resident Evil 4 Remake right now is at 92.2 points on here.
Yep.
But the points don't actually count towards our score until the game officially releases. So, um,
Right.
that's kind of that's what those points don't actually count yet. But like so, I have like Dead Space Remake at 88. Metroid Prime is actually the highest rated game of the year so far at 94
Yeah.
points. Horizon Call of the Mountain, the VR game at 80. Destiny 2 Lightfall. I got a little greedy, Gables. Got a little greedy, and I tried to get it again 2 years in a row with the Destiny 2 expansions.
Even I know when it comes to Destiny 2, they do not have two great expansions after that.
Yep.
Even though you got me with Witch Queen,
Yeah. Witch Queen was like an
Lightfall proved
87.
it.
Yeah. Lightfall is at a 72.8, so not working out for me so well. But hey, Dead Cells returned to Castlevania, way
Yes,
higher than I ever expected, 87 and a half,
that's
and
true.
Wild Hearts at 79. So that's where we're at. We have it is funny though, like we've added some shit on here, like trying to trick the other person to like bidding on it and
Hmm.
waste our dollars because we only have $100 a year to bid on games. Um,
Yes.
so like I have like a mainline third party or a third 3D Mario game on here. I have Pokemon Let's Go 2, even though they're gonna have like a bid $1. And I'm like, maybe Gables will go crazy and bid $10 on this. And which we did to each other last year, and it kind of worked a few times, but so far I think we learned our tactics, and it's not working out so well. But yeah, Gables has got like Tears of the Kingdom coming, Street Fighter 6 coming soon,
Hmm.
um, Final Fantasy 16, Marvel Spider-Man 2, um, Starfield. He's got Hellblade 2, which could happen this year. The one he has taken the first L of the year though, with Black Myth Wukong, which got announced as a summer 2024 game, which is funny.
Which,
They announced like
yeah.
2 days after we did the draft. Yeah. So our rules are we each draft 20 games, and those
Mhm.
games that we draft to kind of make it more difficult for us. Whatever games we draft, we cannot drop. But any
Yes.
games that we bid on and add later throughout the year, we can add and drop whenever we want up until release date. Once reviews start dropping, once reviews drop, then we can no longer drop them. But yeah, Gibbles. I mean, he's added some cool stuff since then. Chia, Gunbrella, Advance Wars 1+2 reboot camp, which is fucked up. Yeah, I've been really bad this year. So I just assumed I already drafted Advance Wars, so I didn't even worry about it. And then
You did last year.
I did last year. Yeah, no, I didn't. I bid on it last year. I didn't draft it. Uh, but Bayonetta Origins, Gables, you bid $1 on it,
I
and
did.
I didn't counterbid it because I thought I was the one that bid on it. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm good.
Here's the funniest thing about that. When I went through and I did my initial bids before both Bayonetta Origins and WWE 2K23 and stuff, I went through and edited the bids initially because I had a little bit more on Bayonetta Origins and stuff like that. And so it's like I put it in my mind, it's like I knew you were not going to bid on the game because you kind of unsure about the game leading up to
You did
that
better
and
than I
this and
thought. Yeah.
that. I had the thing at $5 bidding, for Bayonetta Origins, and I lowered it down to one, alongside of with WWE 2K23, and then there was another indie game and stuff. I put like about $2 on, so I started off with like $64 and stuff, and then I ended out with just 60. left
Yep.
and end up picking 3 games. One of which I'm still waiting upon the review thing for. It's a new game. It's called like Nine, like
Nine Souls.
oh god, not Nine Souls.
Oh,
It's another one
9
actually.
Years of
It's
Shadow.
9 Years of Shadow. It's actually an interesting looking Metroidvania style of game. I was watching a little bit of footage of that earlier on, but anyway, in regards to that, I actually got a couple good stealth pickups
Yeah.
that were pretty close to late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, and
So
I've kind of like second guessed myself a little too much this year. Where like I was gonna originally gonna draft that the Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm game. And
mhm.
I was like, no, I don't know how well those. Like I looked up, the other games did review pretty well, but I was like, I've been here. I don't know. Like I was listening to people that are fans of those games talk about it, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And then the game's like an 87. So
That's the thing, though. I missed out upon that as well.
yeah,
And after that, though, I started realizing, oh man, there's so many games that are releasing that are like late 70s, early 80s, and stuff like that. So obviously, I did my due diligence with like Bayonetta Origins and WWE 2K23, and both actually looked fairly comparable. So I'm like, okay, I, s- I spun the wheel, I rolled the dice, and it
yeah,
ended up working out for me for that.
yeah. That's the thing that's what fucked me. Like in the like last year, I was killing it on like finding those type of games, and this year you're doing it. So, um, and like I said, like, but hey, like Metroid Prime Remaster, like I took a risk on that one
You
because
did,
it
and it
wasn't
paid
even
off
announced at
well.
that point, and it's the high Gables. It is 2023, and Resident Evil 4
Yep.
and Metroid Prime are the two highest rated games of the year.
Yeah, the GameCube is
GameCube killing
definitely
it.
glowing, isn't
20
it?
years later, still killing it. So yeah, it's kind of where I figure like maybe like every quarter or so we'll talk about it. Um,
Oh yeah, that's fine.
yeah, but if I think you have to have 7 games to be eligible for to get review points, Gables. If that 9 Years of Shadows doesn't uh get enough reviews, let me know. I think I can go in and I can edit and add
Okay.
points to it. So let me know if like down the line if it's not in there, and I can go in there and I can figure out the points and put it in myself. So, but yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool little thing. So yeah, if you want to check it out, that will also be in the links to our in our show descriptions. If you want to check all that stuff out. But so yeah, that's what's going on with that. Um, give me one second here. I am all right. Boom. You're gonna move on to oh Jesus, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here, Gables. Okay,
Uh-oh.
no, we're good. I didn't break anything. I'm just trying to. I got okay. All right, Gables. Let's move on to some other news this week. We
Sure.
talked about you know, Konami. Like, are they doing the NFT shit again? What are they doing here, Gables? Well, Gables, what if I told you Pokemon Company is looking into NFTs? Um,
Oh,
so the Pokemon Company put out a job listing for people that understand blockchain and Web3. So how excited are you for a potential Ditto NFT?
is it possible to have my excitement in the negative? Anyway, when it comes to those initial hirings that I learned about like earlier on this week through the news cycle and stuff, it just comes back to one thing in mind, and that's for any other company that uses NFT stuff. It's like it's not sustainable. It's not stable at all in any kind of recourses. I mean, we've had like even big companies, like say like Meta and like this, like and other companies like Ubisoft try similar things and then just backfiring epically, like terribly. We even had the instance to where Square Enix introduced like the trailer to their freaking NFT game that they're getting going through, right?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
just
so bad.
it's so bad. It's absolutely
It
horrible.
is
I mean,
Gables. I found somebody that's worse at Photoshop than me.
yes.
It's Square
Yes,
Enix.
no. And that's the thing, man. It's like I I know that I and like a whole bunch of other people and stuff, we absolutely like hate NFT stuff, what it stands for, what it's initially the purpose of it is just to get a cheap buck or two or something like that for something that's not even existing
Yeah, for
in a lot of
something
cases.
I can with
It's
3 buttons own as well.
So it doesn't surprise me at all that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are distinctly looking into this market itself because of, hey, if there's potential funds to be go forth and made throughout these transactions, I mean, hell, companies are going to go and try to put their foot or try to get a little piece of the pie of that stuff. But whether or not that this will actually lead to something inside of that realm, I mean, hell if I know. All I can do is speculate.
Yeah,
But if we're getting fucking Pokemon NFTs or some shit like that, that's gonna be a big ass turnoff for me.
Yeah, I'm just, I guess I'm surprised if that we're doing it now. Because
Yeah.
I mean, was it Doctor Disrespect? Is that the guy's name? Like he said, people that are into NFTs, he said, are brain dead. Um,
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Sounds about right.
Well, no, he said if you're not into NFTs, you're brain dead. Uh,
Yeah, that sounds about
oh, right, for
right for
him
what
to
he was
say. Oh
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you go cheat on your wife again, douchebag? Um, but that's whatever. Fuck that guy. But I don't know. I guess I'm just shocked in 2023. We're still doing the Gables. Like Square Enix just fired their president because he wasn't into NFTs enough. Um,
I know, right? He wasn't into a Ponzi scheme. Oh,
yeah.
hey, what do you
I mean, he
know?
was like into it, but he wasn't all in, which is concerning because, like, I mean, I keep talking about Square Enix is bad at.
Dude.
They're terrible at business. They just have really good studios that make great games, but like whenever they hire somebody for publishing their games, they suck at it.
Here's the thing. If not for the major success of Final Fantasy XIV, that company would be
Yeah,
in the shitter right
PlayStation could have
now.
bought them for $11. I could have bought them. We could have used the funds we made from doing this podcast and bought them. Um, but yeah, man, I'm just stunned that we're like, it's just so funny. Like, remember that Super Bowl in 2021 where like every commercial was NFTs and Bitcoin, and now we're like,
Yeah, that was horrible.
now
You hardly ever
like
hear
3 months
mentioned.
later, it was like people
It was
I thought it
gone.
was, oh, it's over finally. And no, it's
No, you have these friggin' tech companies. You have all these other type of companies that are trying to keep this thing alive because it's like they think that they're gonna be the only ones, or they're gonna be like the first ones to actually go forth and excel by selling these non-fungible
yeah,
tokens and doing all this other shit. It's like like gamers. A lot of us are not that stupid in that regards. We see through this entirely of what it is, and it's a gigantic scam.
yeah. I mean, it's not even like one of those things where like it's technical enough where you can't even scam like old people, you know, to like trick them into like, it's not like clicking on an email and you get like click this link and you get $17,000, and the next thing you know they have all access to your bank account and you got a virus on your computer. Um, so you
Oh
can't even
yeah.
get those people. I don't even know. I just continue to be baffled by NFTs. I don't fully I still Gables. I have spent dozens of hours trying to understand this thing, and I just
Yeah,
don't. I don't get it. Um,
I still think it's a gigantic joke.
eh,
I mean, it's a fucking gigantic fucking like, it's just a gigantic fucking joke, dude. It's like a giant meme or something that's just like outstayed its welcome and stuff, and now it's like it doesn't matter how many times people try to advertise anything NFT related, especially if it's like, say, either Square Enix or celebrities, let's say like a Logan Paul or whatever the
yeah,
fuck. It will not sink in the mainstream no matter how hard you find it, because it's not concrete. It has no relevance whatsoever inside of the professional workplace or any type of business stuff, and it only exists for con men.
yeah.
That's basically what NFTs
Like I
are.
can almost get the idea of Bitcoin. Like I can understand
Right.
where you're going for there. NFTs, not a goddamn clue. I don't get it. I will never understand it. And I've tried. I've tried very hard, and
Right. Right.
all right, okay, we gotta move on. Jesus Christ, fucking Bitcoin or NFTs. Jesus, it's 2023, people. Um, so
Next is Dogecoin.
yeah, the Dogecoin though. I'm on Dogecoin. Dogecoin. Uh, if I guess if
Oh.
Louis tried to sell me, my dog tried to sell me some NFTs though. If anybody could sell me on it, it's probably him. So if he gets into it, then I'll be in. Until then though, Ghostwire Tokyo Gables coming to
Mm,
Xbox, uh, and Game Pass. Gables, what we call Game
mm.
Pass?
The best
You're
deal in gaming.
goddamn right. Ghostwire Tokyo is coming to Game Pass, Xbox Series X and S, on April 12th. It's actually also coming to the PlayStation Plus Extra, I believe is what it is,
Mm.
the middle tier,
Yes.
on the same date. But on top of that, um, we're getting a little bit more, Gables. It's also coming to Windows PC as well, if that's what you're into. We're getting the
Oh, okay.
Spider's Thread update, is what they're calling it. It's adding new locations, includes new missions and additional mysteries to solve. The game's core storyline will also be updated with extended cutscenes, granting players a deeper look into the plot. The free update will also include a described 30-stage gauntlet selected from over 120 handcrafted levels with one simple goal. Okay, so it's basically like a roguelike kind of thing, it sounds like here. Actually it says right here it's a roguelike. Never mind. I was like thinking of that with the first update from the DLC for Breath of the Wild, where you like go like survive the tower. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. Like I played the game last year. I just thought like I didn't like having like I don't have anything bad to say about that game.
Right.
I beat it. I had a good time with it. Like I like the loop of it. I like the world they built. I like the art style. I like the things you do with your hands and like the cool designs. Everything was cool. I just thought the game was just incredibly average. But hey, like it's coming like it's only on the next gen consoles or current gen consoles rather. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's coming to Game Pass. We knew this was coming. We knew like it's a Bethesda made game, which PlayStation had this, Sony had this deal in place before Bethesda was bought by Xbox. So they kept true to it, and we knew they had a 1-year exclusivity deal with them. So it came out I think in March, end of March, I want to say. So it's been almost a year now. So makes sense that hey, it's coming out April 12th. So a little later, but still. Kind of the same thing. Went the same way with Deathloop. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited because I think the game. There's a lot of things. There's things in there to like, and I feel like that. Like I think the loop of that game could be pretty cool. I like some of the side. I honestly thought some of the side content, some of the side stories in the game was actually better than. I'd say actually everything is better in that game besides the main story. Like the story is fine, but I guess like the main like the boss fights are kind of bad. The main missions were kind of bad. I'd just say play through the game and just do the most fun of that game is just like exploring the game, finding all the ghosts, doing the side stories, bumping into the characters and talking about them, figuring out what's going on with them. Like that stuff is more exciting than actually playing the game and like going through the main game of that, part of that. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fine, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything more to add. Gables went to the bathroom, and I'm on my own right now, and I can't. I just can't talk about Ghostwire Tokyo anymore. There's not enough more to add. Last but not least, here, Neil Druckmann did say that Naughty Dog is actually working on its next game. That's not the Last of Us multiplayer game, factions, whatever you want to call it. He did say that they are working on that game, but he did not say what it is. So it could be Last of Us Part 3. Could be a new IP. We know it's not Uncharted, but I don't know. We will have to wait and see. But since Gables is still gone, was this guy pooping or something? Jesus Christ. This guy is gone though. I'm gonna start talking about what I've been playing this week. We gotta move on. We're going a little long here. I've only been playing one game this week. That game is actually, it's not even an actual full game. It's just beta. I've been playing the Exoprimal Beta. You bet you thought I was gonna say Diablo 4. I did not get to that. I tried, could not get into it. Is it an open beta though? Oh, I think it's like, oh, are we in the? There's like a 72-hour thing where you can get in early, but I don't know. I might check it out if that comes out, if it's open. But I've been playing the Exoprimal Beta. People don't know, this is a Capcom game. That's the one where the dinosaurs fall from the sky. They only have one mode right now, which kind of sucks. Because it looks like there's actually like a story mode in there and stuff. But like, there's a multiplayer mode where it's 5v5, and you are, it's 5v5 online, and you have to like race to get through, like fight through. It's almost like a mini horde mode where you have to get through like fight waves of dinosaurs, and you want to like race. It's your 5 versus their 5, and you want to race to get through all these. And like each wave gets progressively bigger. You can fight stronger dinosaurs, and then you kind of race to like get to like the final section where you actually are like fighting each other at that point. Where in the few games, I only played I think 3 games so far. Um, in those games so far, I went to the one where it's like almost like kind of like almost like dog tags in a way, or like Call of Duty, where like or kill confirmed, I guess is what's called, where instead of killing each other though, and then it's picking up their dog tags, like you're fighting each other, and then like they drop random like things on the map, and you got to pick up 100 of them. It's the first one to get to 100, or I think there's like a time limit. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. Um, and then the other one is kind of like the one where you got like bring the cargo with you. Um, all right, Gables is back. Gables, we're moving on what we play. I tried to talk about Ghostwire Tokyo for about 3 minutes, and I just ran out of things to say. So there's just nothing else to talk about for that fucking game. But I'm talking about I played the Exoprimal Beta.
Okay.
So kind of in that since I just started talking about like a minute ago. So with that,
Yeah,
real
man, no
fast,
biggie.
there's only one mode in there. It's an online. There's no like you can't. There's no campaign stuff. It's only the online portion of it. And there's only like
Mm-hmm.
basically what it's 5v5. It's kind of got some Overwatch vibes too a little bit, but like a little bit. So it's 5v5. You obviously are in the mech suits, and you actually the cool thing is you can switch from your mech suits as you play. Like you have like the one guy that's like kind of like the in the middle where he's got a like kind of like assault rifle type dude, and you got like the tank guy, then you got the healer guy. But
Yeah.
so you like are fighting through like it's like a mini horde mode where you're like it's your five versus their five, but you can't actually see each other on the map, and you're fighting through waves of enemies. And you're like obviously the waves get bigger and bigger, and you fight stronger and stronger dinosaurs as you go, and then you're trying to race to race, and you can actually like send I don't know how exactly, but you can actually like make it so like that they drop like a random like dinosaur, like a strong dinosaur on your map, and if you kill them, then you can send a stronger dinosaur to go fight them to slow down the other five. It was
Oh.
kind of cool. And then you race, and then you get after you defeat this little horde mode section, which isn't super long. It's plus probably 7-8 minutes maybe to get through all of it. And then it takes you to the final section where you face each other and there's different. I only played 3 games. Um, so there's one where it's like different like you got to pick up these like different things on the map, and it's the first one to get to 100 wins. But you can fight each other, but then also dinosaurs are dropping on the map. You gotta fight them and fight. It's PvP versus PvP, PvPVE. Yeah, PvPVE. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of letters. It's fucking 1 o'clock in the morning. I've been drinking. Uh, but you have to like fight them. On top of that, and there's another one. It's kind of like like um, go with the cargo like in Overwatch. You got like, but like the other team after you do the horde mode, you have a cargo, they have a cargo, um, and you gotta like you can all go over and you can fight and like fight them to, like slow them down, or you can like kill them, or you can actually like destroy their cargo as well. That would like eventually it'll respawn, but obviously it slows them down. Obviously, and then dinosaurs fall on the map as well, and you gotta fight them. And there's an advantage of like the faster you get to that horde mode section, the quicker
Right.
you get to you can start, so you can get a head start. So like one of the ones I did, we had to get to like you had to find the 100 like little I don't know like little cards on the ground. Um, like we had a decent head start. We got there like a full minute before them, so we were all like once they even got into the game, we already had like 15, 20 of them before they even
Mm-hmm.
started, and then we ended up kicking their ass, and like I think we won 100 to like it's like 17 or something like that. And then
Oh, Jesus.
the other game was a lot closer. We ended up winning it, but we won it. It was like 100 to like 77. I don't know how many different modes of that there are. Like I said, I only played 3 games. But then the third one I played was the one we had like go with the cargo, and that one we did lose, but it was fairly close. But I mean they ended up winning. Um, but yeah, I'm enjoying that part. I think the gameplay is fun. Fighting the dinosaurs is the fun part. I'm playing on this Series S. Looks good. It runs well. It obviously some glitches, but it's a beta. And the game's
Yeah.
4 months away at this point. But I'm definitely excited to play through. Like I'm definitely excited to like see what the main campaign stuff is, because like there's a story mode
Okay.
there involved in it. Looks like, which I'm not expecting like a great story here, but like if the story is fun enough, but like I don't really care. Like I'm not a big online person, like a PvP person,
Mm-hmm.
but like if there's a fun little like story mode to this, and like because like fighting the dinosaurs part, that's a lot of fun. And if like we can get like just you can play with your friends online, or you can play by yourself and have a good time, like that's good to me. Because like but because I think this game could just be like Not saying like a game of the year contender, but like this is like that. It's a junk food game where like I can just jump in and play and like have a good time. It's coming to Game Pass. I'm gonna check it out. Like I played. That's the reason I played on the Xboxes too, is because if you play the beta, you get some like gear when the main game comes out. So that's probably the reason I'm doing it on there. But I had a good time with it. Like I definitely enjoyed
Hey.
finding like the shooting is, it's not like, I'm not saying it's Call of Duty. It's not fucking Destiny here. It's not like top of the line, but like it is very good. Like you get some cool power ups with each like different like mech suit you jump into. Um, like I said, like you have the tank, you have the healer, you have like you have like Soldier 76 type of guy. Like
Oh,
we'll use
okay.
an Overwatch term. Um, but yeah, I liked a lot of it, like the power ups. I'm having a good time with it. Like I don't know how much more of the beta I'm gonna play because like I said, I'm not a huge PvP guy, but like uh, I I like the horde mode part, and if like the main game comes out and it's just a lot more of that, I'm gonna have a damn good time with this game, I think. So yeah,
Hey.
that's what I'm playing is Exoprimal Beta. What about you, Gables?
All right. Well, definitely Exoprimal does sound pretty promising from what you were just saying to me.
I would definitely do. Hey, it's open beta. I'd say check it
Oh,
out. If you do play it, let me know. I'll jump in. I think it's only going till tomorrow. I think Sunday. I think
uh,
Sunday or Monday's the last day. So
okay. I'll definitely double check in and see what
yeah,
like the initial times and stuff like
yeah.
that. But
Let me know if you want. If you jump in, I'll jump in with you.
I'll see what I can
All right.
do. All right. So as far as what I've been playing a couple different things. One, I tried playing a little bit more of Destiny 2 Lightfall. I played a little bit in regards to not just doing some bit of like weekly grind stuff, but I also wanted to try to check in a little bit things with my hunter character because when it comes to my hunter character and stuff, I don't really invest too much inside of it. I mean, namely I go with the Titan as a main. So I've already completed the campaign with my Titan character. Little bit over 1750 in terms of light level. I got my all my gear and all my things already decided upon what I want for a build for that, which is consistent to resilience with intellect, with recovery and stuff like that. But with my hunter and stuff, I try to go for something a little bit different in terms of mobility, for discipline and stuff. Heck, I played a couple different missions of the Lightfall campaign with my hunter. It definitely felt a little bit better in regards to some aspects of it because I had specific items that I already transferred to my hunter character before the initial expansion thing was even a thing. So I still had some bit of weapons that I could use that could tackle, for like anti-barrier, like say barriered enemies or doing a little bit of like stagger damage or doing a little bit of like overload sort of stuff. But I like I said, I played like a little bit of Destiny 2 this week, just basically getting some bits of armor for my hunter character. But in regards to other stuff, I did go back to play the Resident Evil 4 remake demo. It still is a lot of fun. I was just basically using some bit of my time just to go and screw around with it a little bit more, see if I could like find one of the weapons and stuff that I heard about through Maximilian Dude's streams and stuff. And I ended up finding this weapon, and it was kind of hilarious because it's like the way you unlock it is just kind of weird. But I went through the process of that. I'm not going to say how I unlocked it, but I went through the process and stuff. I went to the place, and once I got the weapon, I started to go forth and use it on villagers. But the thing about it is, I was in a place and stuff to where I was kind of blocked in on both sides, right? So it's like I climbed down something, and then I had villagers literally climbing down with me, right? And I literally had because I could not get to the spot without triggering a lot of the villagers, right? And so every time I try to get to that place, I had this one freaking old lady or something that notices me, like informs the other villagers, and they're like all on me. So every time I try to get to this weapon, I collect it, I get mobbed. I try mob from the people in the well, and I still kept getting attacked from behind. So why the heck am I getting attacked from behind? And I look over, and there's like an entrance to the far end portion. I'm like, oh shit, really? But I left it the demo like that in that regards after that initial moment. But before then, played the initial Resident Evil 4 remake demo, had a fun time and stuff. But in regards to other crazy stuff I started to do, I actually just decided to just go a full on. Okay, what happens if I just go through and just try to attack the villagers first thing and just do all this stuff? Test out the parry system, test out like a little bit of the controls stuff. I've heard elements online to where there's some people that kind of felt like the controls were kind of a little bit off and sort of like some aspects of it, but the only really issues sometimes I've had and stuff is when I'm trying to time certain parries and stuff because sometimes the villagers are kind of a little bit they're not so obvious in terms of what you can dodge and what you can't. But oh my god, when I finally parried that fucking chainsaw, it's like Leon's reaction to not only him parrying the damn thing, I mean, he lets out an audible after he just goes through like and just pushes away the chainsaw guy after that thing. He just literally like it's his reaction is so priceless because it's so appropriate to the situation because he literally will base himself on like the situation that you would think like you would be in that spot where it's like he pushes him off. It's like, oh fuck. It's just a little bit of like honest reactions and stuff. Like, but oh man, yeah, the weapons feel good. Leon feels good, especially when he goes through his melee attacks, his little roundhouse kick shit that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, let's see. In terms of like certain items and stuff like that, I mean, it's kind of like kind of elements of like the same things like you would do in like Resident Evil 4 to where you can combine items like in other Resident Evil games. You could too face off against like the villagers, definitely the different types of like stuff in regards to that. But I've loved how the weapons have felt so far. Like the regular Magnum, the middle 9mm, I should say, the regular 9mm, the weapon that I did collect, the shotgun as well, and stuff felt super good. I mean, super tight. The controls, in my honest opinion, feel pretty good. It's nothing like too much to worry about in terms of the controls stuff. I think there are parts where it feels like some of the AI is actually a little bit more smarter in regards to not only when they notice you, but also in terms of if you try to do like stealth stuff. There are some portions that I've noticed so far inside that main village where being a little bit more stealthy in regards will actually pay a little bit more dividends because you will be able to go forth and like sneak behind people and just stab them in the neck and stuff like that and just take them out and do all that other stuff. I did that a couple of times inside the village because testing the durability of the knife itself, it's only good maybe in the opening game for like after you stab like maybe about 4 or 5 different
Okay.
villagers or something like that. The fatigue meter on that weapon doesn't last for too long, so it's definitely used as sparing type of thing. As a matter of fact, in terms of not just that, but also with ammo and stuff, it's more akin to some of the older Resident Evil games to where it's not going to be a plethora of ammo you're going to go forth and collect. It's going to be you managing your resources, sort of say. But coming from the perspective of someone that really doesn't play a lot of Resident Evil games, but yet has played elements of Resident Evil 4 before, played through this demo, enjoyed it from beginning to end, this felt fantastic. Absolutely felt fantastic to me. But yeah, after that initial testing experiment and stuff, I played through that demo like maybe one more time after that, and I just went through, deleted it off the console stuff. I played enough of it. I had a good feel of it. Definitely looking forward to when it's released. But other than that, though, the last game I really have played a lot over the past week was Metroid Prime Remastered. Metroid
Nice.
Prime Remastered. Yes, this game I'm over 15 hours in now.
Jesus.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's like when you go through an old game that you remember playing from back then or like back in your youth and stuff, sometimes you want to take your time with it. But for this one, it was me pretty much relearning all the elements that I had encountered before while playing this game, both the good stuff and also the bad stuff as well in some parts. Like up until that point, I had from the last time I talked about Metroid Prime Remastered, I played like about 5 hours. I beat a couple of different bosses, but since that recording, it's like I played like an additional 10 hours. I've gone through, I've collected about 95 Michelin expansions. I have like about 8 energy tanks now. I have the different types of a couple of different types of new beams here, the wave beam and also the ice beam. Let's see, have the X-ray visor and stuff. Oh my gosh, the battle against TARDIS, like or Turtis, yeah, TARDIS, that freaking stone monster and stuff where he
Doctor
has to
Who's
go.
time travel machine? Oh.
No, 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 but it's really close to the spelling of TARDIS. But yeah, using that X-ray like freaking visor and stuff in order to try to identify weak spots and all the other stuff, getting the spider ball and like exploring around and stuff. I got to a bit of a brick wall when I finally went into another new area, which was like, oh boy, it's like a mining thing for like Phazon and stuff like the Phazon mines or whatsoever. It's this main old headquarters stuff for some of the space pirates and stuff. Like they're going through experimenting with different space pirates through like different types like Phazon things with the creatures and stuff. That's how they're able to sort of mutate some bit of like some of the inhabitants of like Talon 4. And so they're using, and yeah, it's a little bit of a spoiler thing in terms of story-wise stuff, but yeah, they're using bits of this energy and stuff to try to breed like far superior type of space pirates. And the thing about it is, it's some of the stuff goes completely awry and stuff because you'll come across these types of pirates, like space pirates, that are like elites, that are sort of like elite space pirates, to where they're genetically like jacked and they're super tough to try to take out.
So like,
I
but
went
normally it
through,
would be like they're genetically jacked. So like in a normal contest it'd be 50-50, but they're
yeah, normal contests they'd be pretty quick on their feet
yeah,
and stuff like
but they're
that.
not
They
a
would be
normal.
kind of like the
They're
same.
not a normal man. So
No.
it'd be like really you got like a 33rd and a 1/3% chance of winning.
Yeah, they're basically kind of like Scott Steiner in a certain sense and stuff like that. They're like a lot of meat, but like not a lot of like thought going into some of their movements, like incredibly slow and stuff, and like well, as long as I don't hear a police siren and go and put in the center recliner and stuff, that's just fine by
Just
me.
don't holler if you
But
hear them too. Sorry, I heard genetically jacked, and I was like, I gotta guess that Scott Steiner joking here.
but anyway, throughout this section, the phase on mines and stuff, I've had to repeat like the opening part to the section like a couple different times before I realized, you know what, with what I have currently for my energy tanks, for my missile resources and stuff, it's not cutting it. I mean, I had like about 6 energy tanks going in, full energy tanks and stuff, and this is the portion of the game that kind of spikes a bit in difficulty because they're introducing a couple different new enemy types while you're trying to go through this section. And the thing about it is there is quite a distance between one save point to the next save point inside of the actual mines themselves. So that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult throughout this stretch. Because up until that point and stuff, you faced off against specific type of space pirates just in general. This one, you have an introduction of like specific space pirates that are only weak to specific beams that you have. So, for example, you'll have orange ones that are susceptible to the regular blaster, or you'll have purple ones that are vulnerable to the wave blaster, and then you'll have the like white ones that are like specifically vulnerable to the ice ones, and then there'll be another type that's only like susceptible, weak against like the last major beam and stuff of like what you'll collect. So going through that, using my X-ray thing to try to take out stealth space pirates and stuff, it is a gnarly section. I mean, I had forgotten how gnarly that damn section is and why back then I initially used a freaking cheat device in order to try to go get past certain parts of the section
Steroids.
because it's, well, in a sense, yeah. The action replay stuff back then was kind of like a steroid thing for some of the
Yeah. If
video
you're gonna
games.
face a genetic freak, you gotta match him 1-to-1. You know.
But at the same time, though, I realized that I was at an impasse. I was definitely on a brick wall sort of thing, and I went and explored the other parts of the overworld of Talon 4 throughout the Talon overworld, like the Chozo like ruins and stuff, Magmore caverns, and like the Pandera drifts and stuff. So all the other things I've explored before, I've found a couple different energy tanks. I've found even new clues in regards to coming back then with like the last beam weapon in order to try to break apart like this big old slab of ice, right? So there's a section inside the Bandera Drifts to where you'll see a energy tank, like an actual full on like upgrade to your energy tank, and it's behind this ice, like this like ice wall, quintessentially. It's sort of like a glacier sort of s type of like thing that's surrounding this initial area. But the only way you can take it out and break it is by having enough force and like heat of like a specific like power up that Samus needs to collect in order to get this item. So I haven't encountered that yet. I haven't gotten the grapple beam yet, but from what the game has been initially telling me, I have to get through that Phazon Mines section in order for me to probably get the next power up or get the next type of thing to advance the story things. But other than that, other than that kind of frustration and stuff, every bit about this game has been an excellent walk down memory lane. And this game, I kid you not, it definitely feels like it's 10 times better, thanks in large part to what like Retro Studios was able to go back and fix. Because I'll say this right now and stuff, it's incredibly hard for me to go back to play the old GameCube release because the tank controls of Samus back then. You have the option to play the original control sets on Metroid Prime Remastered, but with the dual analog sticks and everything else, makes it so much better to play, in my honest opinion, without having to go forth and get the Wii version of Metroid Prime Trilogy and like use the Wii remote and stuff to aim and shoot, which I would think would be even easier than that. And quite honestly, for this version, you have that option if you wanted to play with just the Joy Cons. But yeah, Metroid Prime Remaster is freaking crazy, dude. It's freaking good.
Nice.
But other than that, man, that's all I've been playing this week.
All right. Well, very cool, Gables. Um, well, you know what? I think that might wrap it up for us, guys. If you enjoyed that, like I said, top of the show, please like, follow, subscribe. Look in the description down below. You'll see the links to all of our socials. Whatever podcasts we're all available on, we're pretty much on all of them, but the links are down there. YouTube, we're on there as well. If you're watching us outside of YouTube or listening to us outside of YouTube, rather. But yeah, please like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, click all the fun stuff. Yeah, but thank you guys so much for listening. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, play some fun games. Don't take life all too serious all the time. And most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Nerds
Hey,
Podcast.
Gables.
Ah,
Too sweet.
too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.